Saturday night and lights illuminate the sky, the streets, the bars and the stages. Using cameras, photographers like myself use light like paint on an artist's brush, recording the physical world in all its guises. But there's far more than the visual photographers can record. In this program, I'll draw upon my 50 years experience in the demanding world of commercial photography by conceptualizing a portrait of an artist that visualizes not just the physically tangible, but the essence of the artist's creativity in the Viewfinder. In the vacuum of outer space, there's light, but no sound. In a pitch-dark room, we can hear, but we can't see. Sound and vision occupy different spectrums, but in the arts, they're often intimate lovers, often a real symbiosis. I'm not going to haphazardly cast photons at pixels, rendering only a functional two-dimensional depiction. I want to give insights, create narrative, and above all, engage human interest.
We're backstage at the zoo in Fortitude Valley in Brisbane. Look at these walls. This is history. This is creativity. This is art. And this is the home of music in Brisbane. This is gorgeous.
But I'm not here to gaze upon the cherished social history of these backstage walls. It's local band Bullhorn I'm here to see and hear. And for this show, there's awesome news.
This smile that you're seeing right here is the smile of when shows sell out. That's what happens.
Not quite your everyday band lineup, Bullhorn consists of brass, drums and an MC. There's no guitars and no keyboards. And it's Bullhorn's MC frontman Roman Albert's portrait I'll be creating. Or rather, he and I will be creating. But not tonight. Tonight I'm researching, learning and recording Roman's performance, using not just my eyes, but my ears. I'll get together separately with Roman after the show, as Roman's thoughts will be my greatest creative resource. After that, he and I will create the portrait together from the basic idea I've tasked myself with imagining. In musical parlance, Roman and I are gonna jam.
This one's for the dance section, which might just become the whole damn house tonight. As we come around, we're warming up the oven, Jack. Brace yourself, baby. I heard the funk fall like the rain from the clouds. Ever natural, supernatural is allowed. As it came down from the side of the walls to inside of the drawers, it sounded a little something like this.
There's something I wanted to ask you. I'm not quite sure what the term MC means, apart from a master ceremonies at a wedding.
MC, I mean, I spent a long time saying that I wasn't an MC, which was, in retrospect, a little bit wanky. But as far as I kind of interpret, MC is in the origins of hip hop, coming out of originally like MCing, actual MCs at events, toasting, particularly out of the reggae, dancehall Jamaican scene. So toasting was the initial dialect, and then it evolved into the more American, like spoken rhythmic hip hop, and MC just stuck. So you just carried on. So it still means master of ceremonies on a technical level, but in our scene or genre, it's anyone who puts words together in a rhythmic, tasty way.
And as it fell to the ground, it disintegrated. And this, the music.
It's interesting to watch or to listen to, because I'm not really quite sure whether you're singing or whether you're rapping.
Yeah, well, it occupies that space in between a lot of the time. So usually a lot of MCs will often find the key of the song and kind of sit in a melodic, like just enough to tastily add to what's happening musically. You have to play with that melodic kind of delivery.
No hope, I don't believe it. That's real, I got to see it so cold. Don't let it take hold, don't let it take hold, oh no.
Does that change night to night?
Oh yeah, all the time. It depends on what the freestyle is. It depends on what the kind of vibe of the room is. Sometimes it might be a bit more, one time, just spoken out, hype. And then other times it'll be from the top down, witness. So it just depends on what the vibe is. I try to shake it up. I try to change it up because we've only got the one vocalist. I try to play the role of a few different kinds of voices.
Never try to claim to be the rap kingpin. Just the king of the kingdom that's inside this skin. Kicking in my courtyard, soul searching with a pen, trying to let that light settle in, but skeletons from my past, steady meddling, but adrenaline evident in my veins. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen. May every phrase have love as the synonym, peace, joy, and freedom resonant when delivering out my vast ocean of one, sometimes raging, sometimes still, but for real, forever craving. Crafted my trail and well, forever blazing, but in the quiet of night, life's silent mayhem gets the best out of the broken investor. But this ain't no try one, we ain't no Chester, this one ride on this ride I found is the ups and downs making it a mean old hound. Hey. What do I know about love?
When you're on stage, are you inventing lyrics on the spot?
Yeah, for sure. So it's freestyle, MC improvisation. It's pretty much, freestyle has been kind of debated to have two different meanings, which is either free form in terms of no particular line of thought. It's kind of just free abstract. And then the other kind of more held and accepted definition is that you're improvising, making it up on the spot, but ideally it does have good meaning, good, conceptual flow, and there is a narrative of some sort of, sensical flow. So I try and do that. I try. Most of the time it pulls off.'t it doesn't, and that's what keeps it flowing.
Say, when the thing starts to grow, don't lose it. Yeah.
Rocking with the energy, talking a bunch of remedy, melody flowing, revelers, sousaphone in the synergy, rhythm combine the recipe, me, back in the dignity. Didn't we manifest? I guess it was the chemistry. Chemistry speaking, that's the drinking of the whole melody. Melody, originally, funny, under your felony. Penalty, brother, never tell me. Better be ready when we roll up, while we let it breathe. Hot music, y'all go rock to it. Get them up, hot pressure, hot fire, fluid. Never had. Flow.
That's what I was going to ask as well. What happens if you hit the wall? Is no place to go. Oh.
Well, the wall is something I found probably in my first couple of gigs when I was jamming. I was hosting a hip hop jam night, and I was told, if no one shows up for the jam, you're going to have to freestyle for about 3-4 hours. And at the time, it was like one of those, such a thing cannot be done, sir. Yeah, like it just seemed impossible. But eventually I learned you hit the wall, you hit the point where, I teach with young MCs now and students, when you get to that point of choking is the kind of expression used where you can't freestyle anymore, you hit the wall. When you get to the wall, you just find your way around it sonically. And that creates new creative styles, rhythmic roll-offs. Usually the crowd won't actually be able to tell that you've hit a wall if you just kind of play with it creatively.
Really literally kind of make up anything just to fill in those spots.
Yeah.
Word spackle.
Yeah, exactly. You just have to be, so it's not so much like when anyone's learning to freestyle, I always say it's not so much learning to rap as much as learning to be uncomfortable. Because once you embrace being uncomfortable, then you can move any which way musically you take it. And I think I'm speaking outside of my pay grade a little, but I think that applies to any kind of musical improvisation. It's that point of like, panic and fear. If you just roll through it, you discover new things.
Everybody in the house, everybody in your house, start to look in your pockets and turn them out. Hold up whatever object you got. Hold it high to the sky while I rep this sky. Do it like my sister with the purse. It's so glittery, like me when I go work in upon the verse. Every time I show my hurt, and people like shit, he's just rousing out the hearse. Yeah, like my brother with the keys upon the chain. I had a Jets membership, it didn't change. So I came back around the way like my brain. It's the real problem, maintain it, man. You can go kick it. Another Jack Daniels bottle in the pop. Yes, there's Southern comfort within the spot. A little scandalous, but we can handle this. One time, T.S., can you slam with this? One, two, three, go!
I've heard of a term about creativity and creative people, that they get to a point that is called creative flow, where really you're not even having to consciously think about something. It's almost operating out of your subconscious, and the creativity just flows out of you. Did you ever get into that space?
I mean, I think I would, as an initial response, I would say yes, but I've been recently meditating on that and the idea of, with a growth mindset or with a fixed kind of mindset, you think effort is something that is required if you're not good at something. You have to put in effort to be able to do it. And now I've been thinking more after years of freestyling, that kind of the allure of the comfort zone within freestyle where you can just, you can kind of get through the gig and not have to push too hard mentally. Effort is actually required for the constant pursuit of mastery. So now, no matter how intuitive it kind of feels, I'm still trying to stay in the driver's seat and really push, cognitively, push the narrative, push the ideas so that, it's kind of always trying to get better. It sounds a bit cheesy, but it is actually that. It's like always trying to triple down and keep pushing it to get better.
Let's go. Okay, keep rocking the thing that you do and only realize we are only human and we're moving a life song soundtrack. Track the sound of the source of the bounce back. It's a good vibe whenever we ride. We just left the justice and once it is just us in to the next chapter we fit. To kick out another hot session a bit with horny horns in the morning. We on dawn front door with a soulful song. Well, I have realized life is a ride with baby just a ride. So slide into the middle of the moment. Hold it with how much you can own it. Well, blessed feels like a good thing here. Just be yourself, better be so clear. So you know just what it is. Let's go.
After our illuminating conversation and seeing his Bullhorn performance, I've imagined a basic idea for Roman's portrait. I've gathered together some tools and materials to make that idea a reality. I'll use conventional photographic techniques, limiting as much as possible any dependence on digital photo manipulation, the idea being the imperative, not the means of execution.
I'm not a tradesman. None of this will be in a shot. It's going to be a big gap there.
How precisely the portrait story will unfold, I can't really predict. No more than I can predict which way a mitre joint should be cut.
See, this is the thing about mitres.
And of course, I will gratefully accept Roman's input. After all, we are jamming.
Just close.
In my job as a photographer, I love to embrace absurdity because I find that people respond far better to you if you're probably the clown in the room, then that denies them being able to be the clown in the room. They don't feel so off guard. I'm the absurd one.
It sets the bar for people to feel free.
Roman's words are as rhythmic as ripples on a pond, so I have water.
Good.
He reflects and echoes his environment using words, so I have a mirror. Though unlike Narcissus, who saw beauty only in his own reflection, Roman will speak to us through his reflection. So he'll gaze towards camera and to the audience.
I'm coming in and I'm going to pour it in here.
No photo software plugins here. We're doing things old school. Though some kind of plug may have come in handy.
It is leaking. Just there.
Oh.
This is why I never became a plumber. An intense dislike of water.
Do you like soup?
Soup?
Yeah.
Not with water in it. It's important for the photographer in that instance to really embrace the fact that they've got to be the centre of attention, but they've got to direct the subject. But if they can do that from a sort of an absurd way, in a comedic way, it lightens the experience for the subject. Unless, of course, you're trying to, it's a romantic image or something else. But
Sure.
Certainly, in most instances, it's better for someone to be feeling a bit more lighthearted, I think.
Levity. I think people underestimate the power of levity. Like especially with hip hop, there's so many characters and people, and it got popularized, I guess, by all the famous MCs, but everyone takes himself pretty seriously a lot of the time. And I'm not coming out of a super impoverished life of struggle where this was my only way out, and I'm not going to take myself that seriously. It's not You know, it's not the only thing I can do to survive. I'm just doing it as a creative tool.
Oh, look, I come from a middle class background, probably even slightly upper middle class background. I haven't got a lot to complain about, and I find it difficult to. Look, I find it even difficult to think that if I was to sing the blues, because I really haven't got that much to be blue about.
That's it.
When I really think about it.
Like existential angst is probably the heaviest that you kind of can be entitled to go. Like,
I think we all should be pretty happy.
Yeah.
Really, I'm pretty happy with my lot.
and I've seen that come about in my music, like over the years, more and more, especially in the recent couple of years, especially with Bullhorn. A lot of the songs from a certain era were all about kind of ego, going to war with your ego. And then in the later kind of chapter, more recently, it's pretty much in different ways all about gratitude.
Get as close as you can low, like as low as you can.
Yep.
And then smile. Like really like having fun. But the top, I'd like to get real tension, like really grab your skull, like, that's it. That's great. Because words are a reflection, and what I'm doing is going to keep stress in the top image, but the reflection is happiness. Yeah, that's it. Beautiful. From seeing your shows, your shows with Bullhorn, because you're an independent artist apart from Bullhorn, of course, but there's a lot of visual, it's a visual experience as much as an oral experience. How much do you actually think about the visual experience of the audience?
There's a couple of things that have like emerged over the shows, like certain cues, certain visual things. There's like a song called Wraith where there's like a stabs and I like bang on a door, and it kind of goes into the lyric of all I saw as I entered beginner with no agenda, the flow was centered, my roller, and it's kind of like leading in visually. But that kind of thing, it just emerges over the shows over time. And you know, sometimes I'll do it, sometimes I'll just like not do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we generally don't have like choreography at all. It's really just me bouncing around like a...
It's almost as spontaneous as the lyric could be spontaneous.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
I need to go down lower.
I like it with the ripples in it.
Lower. That's what I'm going to get you to do. Lower. I'm just calculating now. And heads up.
Going into position.
Yep. There. And it's small. That's it. And tension in the hands. Right there. Drop. Okay. A little bit forward to his head. Smiling. Teeth. Here we go again. And again. Not too many. Just one drop. So you have to keep your head as square as you can.
Yep.
And pretty close.
Yep.
Go down again and try and give you. And there it is. And you're smiling. That's it. Just go in the water. That's it. Do it again. And smile. Yeah. That is it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then back out.
Cool. Again. Yep. Blow. So I need greater depth of field than what I'm achieving here. Go into position again, yeah. Now all I'm going to do here, I'm just checking depth of field, so I go right down again. There, that's it. Image is a little bit soft, but his face is fantastic. And remember, when you go to the smile, so really smile.
Yep.
And go. Go again. That's right. And again. And. I'm going even taller.
Oh, do you want me to do one of these? Because what I do in the show is that free your mind kind of voodoo shit. So
That's awesome.
this is kind of the more,
That's the corporate.
it's the corporate stressed at work, talk to your counselor.
But that's cool.
But this is that kind of like, yeah.
I've got to ask you.
Yeah.
This thing.
Yeah.
What is this?
It came from this idea of essentially just free your mind. Like, so I'd put my hand up there and then rip it off. And I just did it once or twice. And then there was like a couple of shows where people were in the rows, like, you know, and it had become like a little symbol thing. So, you know, I think there's always power in symbolism. And it was one of those, you know, it happened organically, so I'm okay with it. Like, it was that kind of thing. And now I do it, not because I feel obligated to, but because it suits, you know, some of the time where it's like, don't let the cultural conditioning, you know, keep your identity locked down to a sense of, you know, false value system.
So it's not sort of an arachnid thing on here.
No, it's
That.
it's kind of like a cage of the mind, but I've actually not thought about it until now, but I think what I enjoy about it is that it's me doing it to myself, which is really where I think a lot of our problems and limitations and delusions lie, is it's always self-inflicted or self-sustained.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe I just made that up right now, but I feel like that was a little epiphany I've just had. So,
Spontaneous epiphanies.
the greatest enemy is oneself.
Somehow you've got to be closer, I don't know what's happening. And again, do it. Oh, just a second. I see what was happening. Your other hand was blocking the line. Go again. Try it. Just have the other hand maybe in your head. And on the back of your head or something. Yeah, that's it. As a career commercial photographer, where failure is not an option, I've learnt that great images often evolve themselves into being, almost always from simple, imaginative, creative seeds.
Turn.
And often they seem to grow a life of their own. See, this is the bit. See this line we got?
Yeah, cool.
I like more your idea of the one hand because it's part of your act. So I may have to do a little bit of cheating.
Yeah, sure.
So it's either your hand forward.
That is what I do in the show.
Yeah.
I can try to get that same.
What would you do in the show?
So that's what was
be one
covering it
hand.
before.
Yep.
That's what I would do on the show. So I can just
Can you do the back of the hand?
we can try see if it covers.
And again. Just not quite as high up. Just try. Where are you blowing?
I'm kind of blowing outwards.
Okay, just not as far outwards. And remember that smiley face. That's it. Even closer. And keep going. Just keep going. Good. Keep going. Whoa! Look on your mouth. On his.
Can I try one without the smile?
Yeah.
Can I just do like a straight?
Yep.
And then just like look.
Yeah, but still, like that's pretty.
Like that, but even without the.
Yep.
Just a straight. Like super focused.
Yep.
I know it's not.
And keep the hair on there. No, it's. I was just trying to do the juxtaposition.
Because I never smile. Like, I never smile like that ever.
Yeah.
So it just feels really
Let's not
counter. Yeah.
Do you ever get into let's say, into a dark place when you're thinking lyrically? There was always joy, or is there? Do you ever go to a dark place?
Yeah, I think just like listening to music, you can start in a dark place and get carried from there. Rarely do you get taken to a dark place with music, generally. You might get taken to a sad place or an emotionally heightened place, but yeah, I think I've always remembered, I think it's actually from the Freestyle documentary that I first saw that kind of sparked my whole interest in it. I remember hearing a jazz musician talk about, I think Miles Davis, and the kind of roots of jazz. When you create from a place of anger, you heal yourself. And I've kind of stolen that idea to any kind of dark emotional state or dark psychological state. So, for me, it was always, existentialism, nihilism, things like that. The temptation to just go into that kind of void space. And then instead, pulling from that, I guess what you might call optimistic nihilism, creating in that place, realizing it's probably not worth stressing about too much. And we're all pretty similar, actually. And then, songs just kind of come from that place.
Given I have to take your portrait, can I ask you how you see yourself? In the professional world, I found highly detailed prediction often achieves less than desired outcomes. A great concept requires not only expertise and experience to be realised, but a certain degree of magic seems regularly involved. Yeah, that's sort of in.
That's cool. It feels very me.
I mean, you're going that way. Spurious precision can be detrimental to the creative process and therefore the final objective, telling an engaging story.
That's cool though.
That is awesome.
I like that the little bit of ripple happens right on the eyes, because that's where you're drawn to.
Yes.
And that's what you notice straight up, whoa.
I reckon, that's a pearl. Happy?
It's good. There's a certain duality to it. I kind of look good, but I also look a bit evil. It looks like I'm struggling and kind of trapped within myself, but also looks like I'm doing it to myself. Lesson in there for us all.
I think we've created.
I think we've got it. High five, gang.
Oh, high five. Hey.
Yeah!
It worked.
No, honestly, solid.
Cheers, man. Thank you. Now all we're going to do is get to work on
Now the
that.
nudes.
And then the nude ones. That's
Careful, you don't have enough lighting, baby.
Actually, my mama said, son, you need to get up one more time and kept hitting. And this system is inception.
As you can see from today, we got a mirror from the shop, some plastic moulding, a bit of silicone, a camera, and one light. And with an idea, I think we got some magic.
Stuff. I think you got the key ingredient.
And the key ingredient. Well, I think perhaps we should take it out with a wrap.
Oh, damn! All right.
What could be the subject matter?
I'll do this. You just give me a word, and we'll take it out.
I'm just going to give you a word.
You give me a word.
Shiraz.
Yeah. Wrap it out like Shiraz. Keep it on the mic when it's cool like jazz. And everybody wants to be a part of the ill mass, but it's just strictly orchestrated to elevate it right out of the basement. Everything is sacred. So now we got gratitude in my attitude. I made it here on earth. And that's why I have a verse. And hopefully at some time, we do find our worth. The illusion of meaning, grand.
The master, Roman Albert. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Chief. Pleasure.
Yo, put your hands together. It's a soul clap,